We have sat down and we have searched far and wide for every player whose primary nationality is outside the FIFA Top 100, and we've taken that entire list and used Football Manager and its database to boil down the best 11 outside the FIFA Top 100 in the world. And some of them might surprise you. There he goes. Now it's YouTube. Hey, what's up? Welcome back. This is a treat. You guys know that I love the international side of the game, and being able to use a database like Football Managers to come up with a list like this is great, because we know, you know, I know, we all know that Football Manager and their scouting team is going to be better at scouting than I am, at least right now. I'm taking some online courses like Rosetta Stone for scouting. Very excited. But we're going to start goalkeeper. We're going to go all the way up. Now, there are a few questions that you're going to ask, so I'm going to answer them right now. When I mean primary nationality. So if you were born in Portugal and you attempt to represent Portugal, but you also have like an Angolese nationality, I'm not counting a secondary nationality. It has to be the primary one. This doesn't mean you have to be born in the country, but if you were born in another country, it typically means that you are playing for that national team currently. That's it. So every player on this list plays for a national team or is from a national team that is outside the top 100 in the FIFA rankings. A top 100 that includes powerhouse nations like Cyprus, Armenia is in the top 100, Lebanon, Vietnam, Madagascar is inside the top 100. Kyrgyzstan, or as they have it, the Kyrgyz Republic, is there. Luxembourg is in the top 100. Georgia is in the top 100. Uzbekistan, of course, love them. Oman, Uganda. Like, there are a ton of teams that you don't think are that good that are in the top 100. So these players are coming from teams that are just way out there. So let's start at goalkeeper. And our goalkeeper is 35-year-old Carlos Bejarano. Carlos Bejarano was born in Colombia, but he is Equatorial Guinean as well, and has just recently, at the age of 35, started to play for Equatorial Guinea. He is not actually a very bad goalkeeper. His current ability that Football Manager has given him is 130. This is like the same current ability as Ryan Sessegnon, Jordan Ayew, and even Musa Jenepo is 130 current abilities. Even though our friend Carlos Bejarano is playing in Colombia, he's on loan from America de Cali at Aguilas Pereira. He is a pretty darn good player for the Colombian League. He does have his own Wikipedia page on which it says in 2013, which shows 7 years ago, he's 28 years old, he made his debut for the Guinean national team, the Equatorial Guinean national team, despite not complying with FIFA eligibility rules. No elaboration. Now it's time for a Zealand investigation. Because the reason that Carlos Bejarano did not comply for the eligibility rules is because he has no ancestry from Equatorial Guinea. And I promise you, this is the only person on this list that actually meets this criteria. I had to read some articles in Spanish in which translations by Google included phrases like, "It is a dance of five, but nobody wants to participate. These music plays and songs go by." And this is a sports article, so I have no idea what the is going on. But basically, the coach of Equatorial Guinea had a friend in Colombia. Bejarano was never going to play for the Colombian national team, so the coach of Equatorial Guinea called Bejarano and asked if he wanted to play for Equatorial Guinea. He said, sure. He'd never been to that part of the world before. Again, no ancestry at all from there. Signed some naturalization papers and got a call like the next day to go play for Equatorial Guinea. This is like a hilarious subversion of FIFA's eligibility rules. But Bejarano is the goalkeeper for Equatorial Guinea. And he makes the team because there's no goalkeepers better than him playing for a team outside the top 100. And Equatorial Guinea is 134th in the world. And now just an honorable mention or two for something that almost made this list, which was the subscribe button down below. Got a lot of pace, a lot of rapidity, multiple videos a week, definitely a lot of potential. And so does the like button, you know. Both of those, they're always involved in the play. But let's get back to it. And at right back is one of the best players on the entire list. Somebody that has the same ability in Football Manager as Nicolas Pepe, Ross Barkley, and Donny van de Beek. Might not have the same potential, of course, but has the same ability right now. The dude's from Togo. No, it's not Emmanuel Adebayor. It's Jenna Dakonam, who plays center back and right back for Getafe. And for intents and purposes here, is by far the best right back that I could get for this team. 28-year-old who was born in Togo, came up through Benin and then played for cotton sport for 4 years in Cameroon, which is one of the biggest teams in West Africa. And for 4 years has been a fairly regular starter for Getafe in La Liga. He's been a part of Togo's national team since 2011. So he's been playing with them since he was 19 years old, and he's got like 53 caps for the team. Togo is 128th in the world. Even if you haven't heard of him, he goes by Jenna, by the way. If you're thinking, is this that guy? Yes, this is Jenna. He was La Liga Team of the Year for the 2018-2019 season. This dude's the real deal and can totally play in any league in the world, unlike our goalkeeper. He's definitely more comfortable at center back, though. Even though he's a natural right back, he's more of a defensive option, which this team will need because it's not very good. Now to center back, and we needed a right-footed center back and a left-footed center back. So at the right-footed position, it's Kosovo's first appearance on the list. It's Amir Rahmani from Kosovo, who is again born in Kosovo, plays for Napoli, another team in a Power 5 league, even though his national team is outside the top 100. As with a lot of Kosovan players, Rahmani actually came up through another national team's area, came up through the Albanian national team, and actually scored a goal for Albania against Kosovo right after the Kosovan team had been founded. But then Kosovo called him up. He switched his nationality in 2014 and has represented them ever since with 28 caps. He was a regular at Hellas Verona last season. Big, strong, good at taking the ball away from people, and the best center back option that we have for this team outside of Jenna, who we've already stuck at right back. Now to our left center back, where we meet a Moldovan for the first time. There's actually two guys from Moldova in a row. Alexandru Epurianu is the first of our two Moldovans on the left side of defense. Epurianu is a 33-year-old center back at Istanbul Başakşehir and actually has pretty good current ability. It's only 2 points worse than our dude who's playing for Napoli right now. He's got 91 caps and 8 goals for Moldova. He's a model citizen. You know, if you know anything about Football Manager, that's like the best personality in the game, so he's killing it. We're looking at a 5-time Moldovan Footballer of the Year. He's been playing for Istanbul Başakşehir for the last 6 years as a regular feature after logging 6 years in Russia as a regular player there. This is a guy with a long career, a ton of experience, and plenty of skill to go along with it. Surprisingly skilled with the ball. He can pick out a pass. Maybe he'll help your save. I don't know. Let's get to our second Moldovan at left back. This is the worst position on our team. So everybody on this list or in this team has a current ability of at least 130, which in Football Manager is on a scale from 1 to 200. This guy it's at 126. Oleg Ryabchuk. There's just not a lot of good left backs outside the top 100 in the world, which probably shouldn't come as a surprise. Ryabchuk is a dashing young man, the youngest player we've had on our list so far. Born in Moldova, he's younger than me, which is always a little unnerving. He came up through the Porto B team and has since bounced around and made his way to Olympiacos, a move that was just made from Paços de Ferreira. Now, he's played a lot. He played 37 matches for Paços de Ferreira before moving on. So he's a guy that gets into first teams where he goes and seems to be off and running with Olympiacos as well. And while he was born in Moldova, he migrated at the age of 4 to Portugal, which is why he came up through those youth academies and has a really refined skill set to his game. He's got 15 out of 20 technique for a left back, which is, it's quite nice, quite balanced. And despite having like multiple people on this list, and they might not even be done, Moldova's 177th in the world. I don't know what happened. And in the honorable mention category, he just barely edged out Trinidad and Tobago's Jovan Jones from the MLS and the Seattle Sounders, who you know I was tempted to put in there, but he just wasn't good enough. Now it's time to go to the midfield. In our formation, I've decided to go with a 4-3-3, the classic formation everybody seems to be using around the world now. And our defensive midfielder should come as no surprise at all. It's Central African Republic's Jeffrey Kondogbia from Atletico Madrid, who has the best ability of anybody in this team. Kondogbia is an interesting case. He was born in France. He came up through France, but his parents are from Central African Republic. He actually made 5 non-competitive appearances for the French national team before, when the dust settled on the new age of the French national team, Kondogbia was left on the outside looking in, albeit not by that much. A lot of players would have sat there and waited for the opportunity to play for France, but he said, screw it, liked the country that his parents came from, and got a call up in 2018, answered the call to Central African Republic, and is now representing a team that really has maybe a pipe dream of making it to a World Cup. They're definitely going to be an African Cup of Nations and stuff, but Central African Republic is bad. One of their center backs, though, fun fact, is Lionel Zuma, who is Kurt Zuma's brother, named after Messi, I would assume. Look, Kondogbia is great. He plays for one of the top 20 clubs in the world, and he's from Central African Republic. So let's go Car. Central African Republic's doing better than most of these teams, actually, though. They're 114th in the world. Just keep your eye on them. And we're going to have a really tough midfield because the second midfielder is someone you probably haven't thought of in a while. It's Victor Wanyama, who's one of the best tacklers in the Premier League for a while. He's now in the MLS playing for Montreal Impact, and he's still good. Born in Kenya, in Nairobi, he's got 132 out of 200 in his current ability. And if you put Kondogbia and Wanyama together, I think you actually have a pretty decent competitive midfield. This might surprise you, but Wanyama's also only 29. He flamed out a little early because of injuries out of the Premier League. So hopefully he can continue to kind of rebuild his career, because he's also Kenya's only hope of achieving anything. He's the only Kenyan that got near this best 11. I can tell you that much. The former Tottenham man. And then we needed a more attacking midfielder to round out our midfield three, and that's this last midfield spot is going to go. We had a couple of different options. There was Romain Sawyers from St. Kitts and Nevis. Some of you might know. There's Kama Biliat, who few of you probably know, a Zimbabwean player who plays in South Africa that was very close to making this list. But we're going to go with a third Moldovan who earned the spot on this list. That's Artur Ionita. Artur Ionita. He takes the third midfield spot. He's a balanced attacking player who plays in Italy for Benevento Calcio, which I know I've absolutely butchered. And he made his debut for the Moldovan national team at the age of 18. So this guy has been known as someone that is going to be part of the Moldovan national team for a while. He's bounced around to Hellas Verona for a couple of years, played for Cagliari for the last 4 years, lodged 132 appearances for Cagliari, and now is running with Benevento. Not only does he have 54 caps, depending on who you ask, had 22 caps for the U21s. And he started playing for Moldova's senior team when he was 18. Which means he was getting U21 caps when he was like 15 and 16 years old. Dude is like Moldova through and through. Also, shout out to Moldova, which I guarantee most of you can't find on a map. They got 3 players in this team. There's gonna be that one guy in the comments, I can find Moldova. Congratulations. I'm mainly talking to the Americans. We can't find anything on a map. Now we go to our attacking 3, and we'll be starting on the right wing with a guy that you probably like, oh yeah, I totally forgot. He definitely should be on this list. Milot Rashika of Kosovo is our right wing. The Werder Bremen winger striker kind of dude who's got 27 caps and 4 goals for Kosovo. Like all these guys, he also has the Albanian nationality, and that's the youth national teams that he came up with, but he made the switch over pretty quickly. He plays the game really like a pure winger. He's got excellent explosiveness and quickness, though, which make this team a little extra dangerous. He's a good dribbler. He's definitely a good crosser of the ball. Don't know what else he's going to be able to offer this team outside of that. Rashika also made the senior team of Albania for 2 appearances before dipping for Kosovo like the other Kosovan we have in our best 11. He also made his professional debut at 16. Kid's a baller. Bright future. Kosovo also has a bright future because they've got multiple players in this best 11. Despite its obvious talent, is 117th in the world. And now for our left wing, which this guy's honestly probably my favorite person on this list just because of his story. It's Musa Barrow from the Gambia. And if you don't know what the Gambia is, the reason there's a "the" in its name is because it is literally named after a river. Look at Gambia on a map right here. The entire country is just the land on the either side of the Gambia. That's why it's called the Gambia. And Musa Barrow signed for Atlanta. He signed for Atlanta just straight out of the Gambia in 2016, where it said he played football locally and on the street. He was just like this street merchant player that played locally in a few leagues. How Atlanta find him, I would love to know that story. I don't, unfortunately, but I do know that that is where he came from. He came in and played for this Atlanta youth team. His first game, scored 2 goals from midfield. And it took him 2 years to go from playing in the street and little local leagues in the Gambia to being in the Atlanta first team. And in the interim, he scored 19 goals in 15 games for the youth team. You want to talk about a jarring ascendance? That's it. And Barrow is the youngest player on this list. He turned 22 in November. At the same time he was breaking into the Atlanta first team, he also started appearing for the national team of the Gambia. He's got 9 appearances and 2 goals for the senior team already. And the Gambia, despite this burgeoning superstar, is 157th in the world. They're way off the plot. And he also apparently hates cameras. The last position, and obviously always the most important, is the striker. But there's a caveat for me here, because there is a guy that, according to Football Manager, is the best striker on a national team outside the top 100. But this is a guy that is currently refusing call-ups to that national team in hopes that he will end up, well, playing for Spain. And that's a guy named Mariano. So I'm going to give you two strikers, and you can take either one depending on what criteria you want to have, because Mariano received one cap from the Dominican Republic. He was born in Spain, but he got the Dominican cap and has since turned down every other cap, hoping he'll be able to play for Spain one day. Mariano might have a point, because Dominican Republic is 159th in the world. If you're thinking you might have heard that name before, that's because the dude plays for Real Madrid. He has 18 senior appearances and 4 goals for Real Madrid. He did a loan stint at Olympique Lyon, where he scored 18 goals in 37 matches. He's a really good player. He's tied with our Togolese right back for second best player on this list, according to his current ability. And Mariano Diaz is eligible for the Dominican Republic through his mother, and took a call-up when he was 19 to play in a friendly against Haiti, which Dominican Republic actually won 3-1. He scored a goal, but he turned it down again to pursue a spot in the Spanish national team. And that spot so far hasn't materialized, but there was a news report in 2017 that Julien Lopetegui was monitoring Mariano Diaz for a spot in his team. But that's, of course, when he was playing with Olympique Lyon and playing well. Since then, it's kind of gone downhill, so we could see Mariano appear again for the Dominican Republic sometime in the near future. Just in case that doesn't float your boat, there is another striker who's actually quite good. His name's Vedat Mariki from Kosovo. And if Mariano doesn't count, Vedat Mariki was born in Kosovo and definitely does. Not only that, he's a striker for Lazio. His current ability is 143, which is actually the same as Jordan Pickford and Hossein Aouar and Calvin Phillips and Granit Xhaka. So this guy is at a very high level, even though he's our number 2 striker. He is 6'4", 202 pounds, which is almost 2 meters tall and wide enough to boot. Definitely a target man type player with the strength and aggression to win the ball. So maybe we've got Mariano for the speed, the technicality, the finishing, and then you have Vedat Mariki to just stir the drink. And he also has Albanian citizenship. He also has Turkish citizenship under the naturalized name Vedat Muric, I think. He picked that up to help out the teams he was playing with in Turkey, but since got the move from Fenerbahce to Lazio in 2020. So this is the final team. Let me know what you think of it in the comments. I will see you on stream.